My initial goal was just to lose weight. And that day, June 7th, I think it was 2013, if you said, you're going to run the Boston Marathon, I would have laughed hysterically in your face. There's no way I would have ever thought that was even a possibility, or that I would run a marathon at all, let alone the Boston Marathon. So I had no clue. No, I just wanted to be healthier. I just wanted to lose some weight. Hi, my name is Melissa.
Kristen.
Dominic.
Martin.
And this is my story of hope.
And this is our story of hope.
And this is my story of hope.
Y esta es nuestra historia de esperanza.
And this is my story of hope. I avoided the mirror. I stayed out of the camera. I didn't ever want to be in family pictures or be anywhere where the camera would capture me. And it's amazing how you can learn how to put makeup on without really looking at yourself, and getting dressed without really looking at you. And then this lady at a church function, she just said, so you're one of those plus-size petite ladies. And I just sat back and just was shocked, just absolutely shocked inside. But then I realized she was so right, and it wasn't okay. And that was the last day that I drank a soda, and it was on a Friday. And then Saturday I came here to the Y and actually started to use the membership I had purchased several months before and started to use it regularly, and didn't know that day that was going to be the first day of the rest of my life, but it was.
How did you feel when you walked into the Y for that first time?
A little overwhelmed with all the machines and where to start. I knew at least how to turn them on and start using them. I was so dedicated to burning as many calories as I possibly could. And it was so motivating to see the weight start to come off and to hear people say, you're melting away, or to hear those comments. That was very motivating to keep coming back, and then to just feel better, to have more energy, and to not get that afternoon slump that I used to always get.
You were seeing things melt away. What else did you notice?
I liked getting dressed. It was really nice to go and buy clothes and be excited about getting dressed, and not just getting dressed to hide myself, and just being excited to try new things, to try running. Like, I'd never really been a runner. And so I'd worked out here a bunch and then did that boot camp. And then that next fall, I signed up for my first race ever. And it was so exciting to cross that finish line and have my daughters come running at me, and they were so proud of me and so excited to be there with me. And so that was in October, and then I ran a half marathon in May of the next year, and it was just to push my body to do those things that I never, ever dreamed I would be able to do. It just felt amazing.
You trained for this qualifying marathon for the Boston Marathon.
Mm-hmm.
And the day of, you had a medical event, and you still completed the marathon and qualified for Boston. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So in 2015, I had run my first marathon with a good friend of mine, and we had so much fun at that marathon. We planned to do a second marathon a couple months later. And so we were both in the midst of training for that second marathon with the hopes of qualifying to go to Boston together. That was our goal. That summer, I destroyed my ankle. I was here at a parkour class. I used to do the adult parkour class with my son, Jacob. And I was here at that class and just stepped wrong onto the spring floor and destroyed my left ankle. So I could not run anymore for the rest of that summer, pretty much. And so I was out for training for that marathon. Then it was, I think, a year or so later that my sister's like, let's do this. And she got another one of my sisters on board. So all three of us were like, we're gonna train, we're gonna do Boston together, let's do this qualifying together. And I was about a month, I think, into training, and I started to have gallbladder problems. But because the symptoms weren't as severe as they sometimes can be, they agreed that if I really monitored my diet, that I would be able to continue to train. So that summer, there was several runs where I'd be 10, 12 miles into the run and the gallbladder would just hit, and I'd have to just stop, and I could hardly breathe because it hurt so bad. But I was out in the middle of a trail, so I couldn't just stay there. So then I would just wait until the pain subsided, then I'd go. And then met my sisters in Utah. One was from Idaho, one was from Utah, and the three of us came together and we ran this marathon together. And it was right at mile 13, I think, that my gallbladder got really bad again. And I couldn't stop. I just had to keep running down that mountain. It was about a mile till I was finished, and I knew there was no way I was not going to qualify for Boston at that point. And it was surreal. Me, this overweight, chubby lady who had been sitting on her couch playing Candy Crush for hours on end in a matter of 4 years, was qualifying to go run to the Boston Marathon. It's like, how do you even do that? And then I got to the finish line and my sisters were there and we all just hugged and cried, and it was incredible, an incredible moment.
You had a life-changing situation happen suddenly. Would you like to share any of that?
The life-changing situation, I will just say, I think for any circumstance in life, the better you are prepared physically, spiritually, emotionally, the better you can handle whatever might happen. If you like who you are, if you feel strong, if you have learned discipline and learned how to manage your emotions and your feelings and hard things in life, then even when those unexpected things happen, you can get through them better. I had no clue that this transformation that I thought was just physical was actually so much more. There was so much more of the emotional transformation that it had ended up being that I didn't know at the time. Now, looking back, if I had not have done all the work I had to train for marathons, to run 10Ks, to be able to do 50 push-ups, all those different things that I have worked myself up to be able to do, I know I would not have made it through the emotional struggles that I've been through recently without the physical strength to help me get through them. I never thought I'd be somebody who says she loves her therapist, but I do. And she, in one of the hardest times of my life, she told me, just think of this part of the trauma you're going through as your squats. You know, she helped me really kind of make a physical connection to the emotional lifting that I was doing. And because of my knowledge of the physical, that translated really beautifully in my mind, and it gave me permission to be okay with, I am lifting heavy weights right now, and it's what I can do right now. The YMCA can bring hope to people by providing information, by providing the tools that you need to feel better about yourself, from your little kids in classes, to learning new skills, to improving your own body strength and your own who you are. And as I said earlier, if you feel better about yourself, and you can learn how to feel better about yourself here with all the tools and the people here who can help you, then you will be better to handle everything in life.
And what would you say to another person that was in your similar situation before? What would you share with them?
I would say just go, just start, just put your head down and just show up, and don't worry about what other people think. Wear whatever's comfortable for you to be in, and just show up and start using the machines and just do it.